And welcome back, everyone, to Lantern Corps. Day late. Honestly, I got home. I only had a little bit of time before I went out and did my normal routine on Tuesdays. So I'm like, screw it. We'll just do the remaining what if and this together. And this will come to us from Antonio Spilato, who asked the question, what is the Lantern Corps of Carnage? Now, Carnage has bonded with multiple people in the past, but we will look generally at the Cletus Cassidy version. And yeah, Carnage is a pretty messed up character. I mean, he's a guy who takes pleasure in just death and destruction. He is completely and utterly psychotic, and is a mass murderer and very sick and twisted. So, what Lantern Corps would this guy qualify for? I think there are actually three big categories here. Let me get a couple out of the way he's not going to qualify for. Shame doesn't work. Well, Ultraviolet doesn't work because it's believed it's shame is the Lantern Corps that, or the emotion for that Lantern Corps. Keep in mind too, Carnage is the Carnage symbiote and Cletus together are what make Carnage. So we'll look at that as a whole. I do not think happiness works because Cletus was definitely not happy his whole life. Carnage more or less is, but he's psychotically happy. Life definitely doesn't work because he does not try to protect life at all. Nor does Will. I think Carnage is a very strong-willed character, but it's in a different vein than what would qualify, I think, for Green Lantern Corps. He's also definitely not a beacon of hope. He's not a beacon of love. I didn't put compassion on here, but compassion actually could work. So actually, there are four Lantern Corps you qualify for. Let's just get out of the way right now. Compassion is one of the courses because he is completely devoid of compassion, which you either need to have it be your dominant emotion or be completely devoid of compassion for it to work. So, yeah, it's that's definitely a Lantern Corps that could follow in suit. Should also note that obviously I think fear could work. He is a very terrifying individual, has scared the pants off most people in his universe, and is, just a dangerous monster that goes around killing people, absorbing life force, all that. So, yeah, yellow definitely works. I also think orange could work because he is never satisfied. He constantly wants more death, destruction, and greed, and, death and greed. Not greed. Death and destruction, carnage and mayhem. He just constantly wants more, and he's never satisfied. So I actually think avarice is not a bad choice for him. As I said, compassion also works. One I want to address, though, is rage. Despite his obvious color alignment, just physical, actual color, despite how he looks, rage I don't think is the right category for him. Because nothing he's doing is out of anger or rage. It's not a psychotic bloodlust. It's out of the joy of killing and, taking life. So I don't see him being a Red Lantern at all. But actually, among all of them, it's either going to be compassion, weirdly enough, or I think he's actually a prime qualifier for a Black Lantern. Now, he's never died, admittedly. Technically, Carnage has died, but it's symbiotes and all that. That death is kind of a weird... is a bit of a weird thing. But even if that were the case and he hasn't died, he is killed and takes so much joy and revels in death so much that I think he's actually a prime candidate to be a Black Lantern. I mean, he really is an embodiment of death in many ways. And currently in the comic run, he did just kill Noah was brought back, and yeah, apparently Carnage became the new King in Black. In fact, let me just now get because Noah is a very unique topic because he's immortal. He existed before life existed, before the concepts of life even existed. So even though he can be defeated and put down for a while, he is not mortal. He will not truly die per se. Let's say here. No. What's the terminology they use here? Non-irrelevant energy manipulation, superhuman strength, symbiote domination, creation, living abyssal, Where is the terminology they use for him? During where is it? Nigh immortality. Is unable to be truly killed, has existed for 13.7 billion years, having come from existence prior to the beginning of the 7th iteration of the universe. However, he can be injured in point of incapacitation. Yeah, he's I believe he's known as immortal. Again, it kind of can be defeated and put down, but it will only last for so long. So, yeah, I honestly think Carnage best qualifies for either a Lantern of Compassion, because if you want to talk about a character completely devoid of that is Carnage, or a Lantern of Death. Now, I think Fear and Greed also work extremely well. I think those are actually both really good candidates. And if those rings were to be nearby him at any point, and the other two were not, either of those rings could go for him 100%. It's just, if you had the 4 rings coming at him at the same time, I think Death or Compassion would probably eke him out. It's also theoretically possible he's one of those few characters who could wield multiple lantern rings. Not saying he could wield all 4 of them. In fact, if the Lantern Ring of Compassion hit him first, the other 3 rings are null and void, because he's now completely leveled out on his emotional spectrum. Because that's exactly what it is. It's basically like an antidepressant. It just mellows you out. But hypothetically, if any of the other 3 rings attached onto him, the other 2 could, in theory, still attach. You can wield multiple lantern rings. It's just you need that your level of emotions kind of need to basically be balanced out in order for that to actually work effectively. They did try doing that at one point during I can't remember what the comic run was, but essentially a couple of the main core leaders had been kidnapped and sealed in a book, and their rings were left about. So the remaining Green Lanterns, actually I believe it was Guy Gardner, Hal Jordan, John Stewart, and Kyle Rayner, all shared the rings, and they basically said, okay, who's got the best balance of emotions here and there and whatever. But then one of the Guardians came out and said, actually no, he doesn't have enough rage for this, he doesn't have enough love for this. And then that was honestly how I believe the White Lantern came into being, because Kyle Rayner wore all of the rings, one of every ring, and basically balances emotions out to become the White Lantern. I believe that's how the White Lantern was born. So it's possible, in theory, that Carnage could be one of those characters who could wield multiple rings. I mean, at minimum, I think he could wield a black and yellow ring simultaneously. Those two shouldn't be in conflicting odds with each other. And if anything, the Orange Lantern could actually be very, integral for that, being like, more, give me the black, give me the yellow, more. How do you like it? How do you like it? I would say if we're doing just one predominant Lantern Corps, black is his predominant Lantern Corps. Followed, honestly, I think by greed. Compassion. Then I'd put gluttony, or greed, at the 3rd place medal, and then fear, just because there are characters far stronger than him who don't fear him. That's the only time. Those are the scenarios where fear, I feel, gets pushed back a bit from being your primary Lantern Corps. Especially if you can qualify for multiple, I think, when there are characters that simply aren't afraid of you out there. So I go in from ascending order. Fear is the least likely, but still very possible. Greed is the next most likely. Then Compassion, and I go Death Lantern Black. So that is what I think the Lantern Corps for Carnage would be. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. See you later.